Says I have good video. Oh, I like that. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
So, while we're building audience, one of the things that I noticed, I looked up stats for Arkansas. I didn't get specific to city. And then I went and studied, I think it's Proverbs 22:6, when it talks about training up a child. That was not just talking about spiritual training.
Oh, wow.
I started studying that.
It wasn't just spiritual?
Nope.
It was in everything.
Yep. Wisdom, education, and everything else. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you guys coming in. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Typically, Jess is on the other side of the screen. Hi, Angela. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, y'all coming in fast. I always usually say like roaches. Like when you turn up, see, some of y'all might not have had a roach or ever seen a roach. Yeah, they scatter. You guys are coming in like roaches, scattering. But I love it. How about that? Good morning. Hey, Kim. Oh, hey, Kim, I miss you.
Hey, Kim.
Jessica says, hey, Kim. Hey, Demi. I see you. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Shawana. Hi, Crystal Browning. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, welcome. Oh, hey, DeShannon, thank you from Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah, Deborah. Hey, Deborah, how y'all doing? Good morning, welcome. Hey, DeCondi, hope you are feeling and healing well. This is definitely a coffee and conversations that you do not want to miss. This morning we are Instagram Live as well as Facebook Live, and I just want to take out time to welcome you. Also, you get to see the other face associated with LMJ Ministries. She is typically on the other side of this thing, handling all the technology and all of those great things. And this side, she's on this side of the table. And the reason why is she is a master at school teaching. I am just so impressed with her, and I'm going to introduce you and then we're going to get started. But I want to talk to you a little bit and share the scripture. We've all heard the scripture, Proverbs 22:6, where it says, train up a child in the way they should go. And for the most part, we've all left that spiritually, right? But when I started studying the scripture, because the next part said, and they shall not depart, does not mean that they won't depart. And we as parents would hope that they not. But what it says is take everything, deposit every bit of wisdom you have into your kid. And this isn't just wisdom, spiritual wisdom, but this is also depositing educational wisdom. This thing between separation of church and state, when that occurred, it changed a lot of Christ in our school. It took a lot of other things out of our classrooms. And so here's where we have to find the balance. We've got to figure out how to invade this sphere of influence as Christians, but also as community leaders. How do we make successful schools in our community? How do we provide successful environments for our children? Because this isn't just on the teacher, nor is this on the parent. This is a collaborative partnership between the parent and the teacher. And it is essential that you understand that as a parent, but that you also understand that as an educator. I am just, that is so funny. I am just so grateful. Hey, meet Jessica Thompson. Thank you for sitting on. Thank you for coming on the other side of the screen. Yeah. Jessica is actually pretty shy. She is not my personality, but that's how we balance. And Jessica is not only a part of my ministry team, but man, I call her the other side of my bookends. She is my best friend. She's one of my best friends. If I'm not with Vaughn, I'm usually with Jess. And I just love her immensely, but she is just a profound educator. I have watched her take her classroom and turn around some very difficult classroom situations and make them successful. We also go to church together at Canaan, and I'm down in Pine Bluff because we've got to serve and do some things at our church today. So, how long have you been teaching?
This is going into my 9th year of teaching.
Okay.
I taught kindergarten and 3rd grade.
Okay. Which one did you like best?
I think 3rd grade.
3rd grade. They're a different learner.
They're a different learner.
Yeah, because Judah is becoming a 3rd grader this year, and I'm like, okay, Judah in the 3rd grade. So 9 years in education, from Plano, Texas. I'm just going to give you a little bit of our history.
Plano.
She's going to say Plano.
Suburbs.
The suburbs. She's from the burbs. But the thing that I love best is she's also a mom of 5. So she's not just a teacher. She has 5, 4 who are all in elementary school,
Yes.
and trying to get them prepared. I want to share just a stat. Last night I was looking up statistics on the state of Arkansas about where we are at education. And in 2016, 2017, we received a D, which for me is almost like a failing grade. We received a 68%. One of the other statistics that I also found here in the state of Arkansas is 62% of our children in our school systems are impoverished. So if you look at that, that means that you have to understand that there are so many other situations going and factors that attribute to our educational system. And a lot of times we don't think that out as teachers. Sometimes we don't think about the things at home that are impacting our kids. We always think that kids are resilient.
Yes.
And that they can get through anything. And I know you can attest to just the different things that have happened and that you've even seen in your school year. So as a mom, how do you prepare your kids for school? What are some of the things that you tell them? What are some of the strategies that you say to them before going to school? I have a whole meeting at the table of my expectations of, you know what I'm saying, different things. How do you prepare your kids for school?
For me, the biggest thing is I make them remember the truth that we talk about on a regular basis.
That's good.
There's no separation. So the truth that we operate in at home, the truth that we operate in church, the way we talk to one another at home is the same way you should be talking to people at school. The same respect you have for me is the same respect you should have for your leaders. Regardless of what they may say, how they may act, you respect the position.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's big for me.
That's real good.
Like, you shouldn't treat me any better than you would treat your teacher.
Yeah.
At all.
Respect the position.
Respect is regardless.
That's good. And a lot of times we don't see that. Like, we'll have kids who come to school and they are popping off. I mean, they are getting it on. They are saying way too much. They are doing too much. And I know as a teacher that can be frustrating. And then being on the other side of that as a parent, I know without a doubt that's a different process. And so teaching them to respect, no matter what, even if the kid is wrong.
Correct.
I mean, even if the teacher is wrong,
right?
Then the respect should still be held.
Because there's times where I'm wrong as a parent.
Yes.
But my kids still have to respect me.
Ooh,
Regardless.
that's good.
Regardless.
That's good. The respect has to be there.
Respect has to be there. Because you may not respect an officer, you may not, you have situations where you have to respect people that are in authority over you.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes. So then, as from the other side of the desk, right? Coming into situations, dealing with parents who don't teach their respect. What is that like as a teacher? Because we're talking about forming a partnership with our schools, a partnership with our teachers. What's that like as a teacher dealing with a parent who doesn't teach their kid respect, or who comes through the door of the situation? How do you handle that as a teacher?
Well, I can't control what goes on at home.
Yes.
But I can always sow seeds of truth and wisdom into them while they're in my presence. So as long as you're with me, this is how we roll.
Yes.
And most of the time they'll take it home and their parents will begin to change. There will be things that shift them at home because, oh, my kid is acting different. These are the expectations that his teacher has. Yeah. So let's kind of shift into that because we've got to be successful this year.
So how do you handle that parent that comes in the door? Woo, woo, woo. Did you say to my student? Did you say to my child and my child? How do you? Because I've seen you descale. I've seen you descale a parent, and then they become your friend at the end of the school year. You got something to you to turn that around. How do you do that?
At the end of the day, I used to be really quick to go in with them.
Yes. Because
it became combative. It became almost an attack against me.
Yeah.
But as I slowed down and listened to what it was that they wanted to talk about, why they might be frustrated, then I paused and I could listen and attack what was going on instead of doing it out of emotion.
Yes. And that's good in dealing with that. And that's for any of our educators that are out there that are new teachers.
Yes.
Understanding also that a lot of times these parents have things going on at home that they're not
Yes.
discussing. These kids have things going on at home that is not being discussed, and being in a circumstance, a situation to be able to discuss. But even as a parent, even if you meet that teacher that may have a bad attitude, first of all, as Christians should be praying.
Correct.
We should be praying for the teachers that we have. We should be already covering them in prayer, covering them in love. That's the first thing. But also putting ourselves in a position to understand that teacher may have had a bad morning. And it's easy to say, oh, they need to leave that at home. But there have been times that you have walked out your door, that you have not left your problems and situations at home, and that everybody at work had to deal with this situation.
I want to piggyback on what you said, because a lot of times we don't realize that teachers are providing a service.
Ooh,
and we're
that's
still
good.
People. We're still human.
Yes.
I still go home every day to my family.
Yes.
I still have bills to pay. I still have human stresses. Don't put us on a pedestal.
That's good.
That's what I want to say. Don't put us on a
good.
pedestal like we're perfect. Like, because we're educators, we tend to act like we know everything, but we don't know it all.
Yes.
We don't know it all.
Yeah.
And we're still learning. It's like a physician. They're practicing.
Yeah.
We are practicing education.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. There's things that come up, but just give grace.
Yeah,
Extend grace.
that's good. And I'm sure you're not the teacher you first were when you first started teaching versus now, right?
No.
You're a different type of teacher than when you first were, than you were first started.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but one of the things that I studied last night or read over last night was how important attendance was for school. And because, my nonprofit does sickle cell support services, sometimes our sickle cell kids, it is hard for them to be in school. Like, it's hard sometimes. Yeah. What is attendance? If attendance is a problem, what does that do for a kid at school if a kid is missing frequently?
Learning is best when it's consistent. And so when you have those gaps, you're missing out on key components that you need to build that wall.
That's good.
And so if you're missing, you come to school on a long weekend, you miss a Monday, you come to school Tuesday, Wednesday, you miss Thursday, something popped up Friday, you've just missed over 80% of the instruction for that week.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people don't realize that we are paced. And I'm in a testing grade.
Yes.
So things are paced according to the exam that's coming up in the spring.
Yes.
So if you've missed weeks like that, you have just completely, it's a disservice to you to provide, to be able to get what you need going in.
So attendance is essential. You're in a testing grade. What are the testing grades that are for the school year?
It's 3 through 12.
Okay, so from the 3rd grade to the 12th, they test.
Yes, and they have tests for K2, but the state test, the big test, is 3-12.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Jessica Thompson, and we're talking about strategies, things, partnership. I really am trying to focus on partnership for the school year, because what I've learned is when you partner with your teachers, it puts you in the position so that there's a collaborative effort, right? There's a collaborative effort between the family and the teacher. Yes. And the responsibility isn't just on the family, and the responsibility is on the teacher. But also learning that you have to be fair. You're talking about teachers who may have 25 students in their classroom. That's 25 different families that they're responsible for, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. And we as parents have to go into this figuring out how to form a partnership. So my next thing is, what about the absent parent? And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. I'm a single parent now. When I had a partnership when my husband was here. We homeschooled, but the times that we were in school, parenting was different because I had someone else to help balance this out. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. When we got adjusted back into school, I was not as good as being there because I'm also an entrepreneur and I have to get it. Like, I have to get it, so my work schedule is different. The things that I'm attached to is different. It's like just a whole different process for me. How do you deal with that absent parent or how do you even encourage the parents who their time may not allow them? And sometimes teachers look at us parents who may not be overly involved as if it was something as neglectful. And all of us are not neglectful. I'm not neglectful. I just sometimes can't be at everything.
Right.
I have 2 kids in school, right? So sometimes I can't be in both places if they both have something on the same day.
I have twins. If they're split or field trip days, I can't make it to both.
Correct. And then I think I saw Eddie sign on too. Hey, Eddie. Hey. Jessica's husband. So, and then when that comes in the process, how do you deal with parents who are absent so that you can form partnerships? Yeah. And then how do you encourage them? What instruments or things can you put in place so that they can still feel involved?
For me, I'm going to address it in 2 ways. The first thing is that I give out my personal cell phone number.
You do?
Yes.
Your personal cell phone number.
There's some educators that say, nah, there's too much going on. This is my space, whatever. But reality is times have really changed. Like in the beginning, I didn't give it.
Yes.
But now it's like, hey, you need access to me.
That's good.
I deal with your kid for 9 months in a year.
Yes.
7 hours a day. I'm just as influential as you are.
Yes.
So if you need me, call me.
That's
I have a lot of parents that work 3rd shift, 2nd shift, and those conflict with school hours.
Yes.
I can't get a lot of stuff done because things conflict with school hours.
Yeah, that's good.
So if you can access me, they feel more vested in their kids' learning. If they just do a simple text, Ms. Thompson, we're running behind, doctor's appointment, whatever, they like to feel connected.
That's good.
Even if they don't see me.
That's real
Even if they don't see me. And then for those parents, I like to encourage them through, I'll use apps.
Okay.
Or since they have my number, I'll shoot them a picture, shoot them a text,
and
say, hey, I know that most people use their phones, but if they don't have the data or the extra time or money or whatever, shoot them a text.
Yeah.
Drop a picture.
That's super important. Like that's beyond important because it's not that you're necessarily neglectful parents. Some parents are just trying to figure it out. Some parents are not able to leave their jobs to be. And as a parent, I'm gonna tell you, don't you feel bad for providing for your child. Don't you feel bad for trying to do what you have to do to make sure that your kids are okay and that you're not able to be at every function because you've got to have balance, especially as a single parent. And I'm going to do a segment on single parenting, especially when the podcast comes out, because we carry a lot of weight and burdens as a single parent, and we try to make it all fit in within these 24 hours, and it's not always easy to fit everything in 24 hours when you have multiple kids. And we will put a stress and a burden and a pressure on ourselves to be attached. Our kids sometimes will be in way too many activities, and we'll feel a stress, and we don't have the capacity to do it all. Right. So as a single parent, you got to find balance within this school year so that you don't stress yourself out, because if you're stressed out, you're not going to be at the event or the thing or connected at the capacity that you're supposed to at all.
I also wanted to say on that note, it's good to communicate with your teachers.
That's good. But I don't want them. What about the parent that says, I don't want them in my business?
That's fine, but at least share with me the things that are important, that have relevant issues, like it affects what's going on right now.
That's good.
You don't have to tell me what happened last night, but you can say we got in late last night. You don't tell me what you did, but just say, hey, it was late night, we got home, whatever. They might be tired. Let me know. Because a lot of times what happens is I may not be that teacher that's rude or have moments of frustration because you won't be engaged in my lesson. But you might go to music, you might go to PE, you might go somewhere else, and that teacher pops off because so-and-so's not doing such and such. I could at least share, hey, they're not feeling their best this morning. Give them a second to wake up. So communicate. That's the biggest thing.
That's good. When we made the transition into school and we were widowed and they were missing dad, that is one of the things I emphasize. And one of the things I like about their school, they'll ask, and I know you guys send those teacher forms, and sometimes we don't like to fill all that out. But one of the things that's necessary is saying, I had to say, hey, we lost dad 4 years ago. And even though 4 years ago seems like a long time, it is essential that sometimes Judah J doesn't have a bad day. And then I remember we were in a transition of moving, right? from one place to another, and Josiah had a lot of responsibility on him of helping me pack. Yeah. He was trying to take a lot of stress. That's a lot for a 12-year-old boy. He wasn't turning in homework, and then he's not a complainer. He never likes to put burden on me, right? So he wasn't turning in homework. He wasn't doing some things. I love online systems because they allow you to keep up with stuff, and I was able to come in and see what he wasn't doing. But I was also able to send an email to all his teachers and say, hey, look, at this time we had lost my aunt. Yeah. We had also lost my grandmother, and we moved. And I had to say, hey, we're just in a transition. And his teachers were so wonderful. They extended him some grace because I did communicate with the teachers. And sometimes we don't want people in our business, but we need to hold a conversation.
Yeah. Try them. See what happens. Yeah. And that's where that relationship comes in. Yeah. Talk to them. Let them know. Yeah. Say, hey, this is what's going on. And just see.
That's good. So let's talk a little bit about bullying. We know that the state has adopted some anti-bullying laws. I'm going to tell you something. They're necessary. I've tried to teach my kids to go seek an adult out in case the situation happens. My Judah responds a little different. I'm just going to be honest. His rule is if somebody put their hands on me, I'm going to put my hands on them. Tell us how, if a parent has a kid that's being bullied, and they feel like, what do you as a teacher want that parent to do dealing with a bully issue?
Okay, first thing is if your child is coming to you, don't assume they're coming to the teacher.
Ooh, that's good.
Don't assume they're coming to the teacher, because I've had on numerous occasions, parents would come at me as if I already knew. And I did not know.
Okay.
And they could be very open. They could talk to me all the time about everything else. Yeah. But they never told me what was going on.
Because stitches get stitches. Because that's how they feel. Yeah. Stitches get stitches.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. Talk to them and let them know. Say, have you talked to the teacher? Yeah. And sometimes they might say yes just to pacify the parent. But parents don't assume or jump to conclusions that the school has exhausted every option when it comes to dealing with it. I would also suggest to go to administration, pull in the teacher, try to put everyone in the same place at the same time. Because a lot of hearsay stories and so, and I was on recess, and don't assume it always happened with your homeroom teacher. It could have happened on the playground. It could have happened in the lunchroom. And your child's teacher is not with them everywhere they go.
Because kids don't tell complete story. Yeah, kids don't tell complete stories.
Adults against each other, because we are emotional. We'll go into mama bear mode and not my baby, you know. But just take the time to try to get all the pieces together, and don't attack the other kids' parents, because it can get really messy when you're talking about your child being hurt, whether it's verbally, socially, or physically.
Yeah, and even assuming that every parent knows that their child is bullied.
Correct.
Sometimes kids get to school and act a different way. Yes. I've seen it. I've mentored. I've been in the place. I've been in an environment. Sometimes kids get to school and act a completely different way. They are not the same that they were at home. And you will see a whole different kid at school. They'll be cussing at school, and then they get around the parent, and it's like a whole different...
Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle. And a parent is like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that my kid would say things like that. So it's so essential and so important that you don't assume. How do you deal with the kid who has been bullied? How do you restore their self-esteem in the classroom? Because trust has been broken with their peers. A lot of times they don't trust an adult to protect them. Right. How do you build trust for that kid back in the classroom?
For me personally, in my classroom, I create an environment of family. And so everyone is held accountable for each other in some way.
That's good. That's good.
So, perfect example, someone was trying to talk about, another kid said something to them about me.
Yes.
And one of my students, you don't talk about my teacher, and they just rose up. Yes. And they'll do the same for each other.
Yes.
And so when you create that environment of we are taking care of one another, we're building up each other, we're not tearing each other down, then it makes it easier for that kid to feel belong.
That's good. That's good. And one of the things that I do as a parent at home as well is I've established some confessions that I say over my kids before they get out the classroom. And then one of the things, before they go into the classroom, one of the things that I tell them when we get out the door is, you're the only peer pressure. Yes. If anybody's going to experience peer pressure, you're going to be the person that pressures your peers to do the right thing.
Yes.
You don't yield to any peer pressure. Remember your last name. Your last name is Johnson. It means favor. Remember the God that you represent. Remember who your mother is, and she will show up on the scene at any time. I just remind them those things. I encourage them. I pray over. I positively esteem them. Because the other thing that I found out is even if your kids were doing something, they were doing something wrong. If you have a kid that's having a bad day, when they go to school, they have a worse day, right?
Yep. But you can usually discern it.
Yes.
And that's where I ask the teachers be sensitive. Don't just assume like, oh, they're just frowning. No, pull them to the side, find out. And I know it's so cliche, take your time, whatever. But a lot of times we get so engulfed in the responsibilities of the day that we will be like, yeah, okay, let's just move on to the next lesson.
That's good. That's good. And I know it's hard for teachers to have multiple, but that's still a responsibility of the teacher. When you assign on to teach someone else's kids, that you remember that these are 24 little human beings, 24 little bitty people who have all kinds of situations. Kids are not as resilient as we think they are. They're dealing with, a lot of them sometimes are dealing with self-esteem issues as they're making transitions into middle school, into high school. There are all kinds of issues going on. They're trying to find themselves. They're trying to figure themselves out. That's why she's not saying them, have not been in agreement with sixth graders being in with 7th and 8th graders, because I still feel like they need that time to catch up. I'm the same way. I don't think 9th graders should be with 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. I still think they need some time. See, I was a young 10th grader. I was 13 in the 10th grade.
Yeah.
So I was in the high school at 13 with
high school issues.
With high school issues that my brain had yet not experienced. And so we have to think of that. How important is diet in the morning? You know how I'm about food. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I do not send my kids to school on sugary substances. And I'm gonna tell you why. We are all already high energy.
And kids are already innately high
that's
energy.
Good. Yeah.
Already.
Yes.
Development milestones, they are made to move, they're made to bounce.
Yes.
It's just in them.
Yes.
They're wired that way.
Yes.
So when you add those other components of sugar, 500 calorie Pop-Tarts and whatever else.
And Pop-Tarts have a lot of sugar in them.
Hidden sugar, yes.
Yes.
Yes, granola bars, all that stuff is very sugary.
Yes.
Sugary, so just be mindful.
And I know as a mom, sometimes it's so hard. Thank you for that. I'm telling you, it's so hard sometimes because you're in a rush. I've been guilty. But I'm telling you, limit the amount of sugar that they get in the morning. You will be their teachers. They will be able to retain more. Find things that you can fix at night that you make your heat up. Give them things like oatmeal. Give them things like grits. Give them things like protein and fruits in the morning. Sausage biscuits, something simple. For a mom that's a single mom, you may have to do what I do. Get your butt up out of bed. I have to get up early, and the reason that I have to get up early is to position myself so that I can give them what they need so that they can get out of here. But what I don't want to do is put myself in a position to set any teacher up for failure, because my kid had a bowl of chocolate Ho-Hos that morning, and then they get to school and they're so hyped up, they go up and then they crash and they burn. So diet is successful, and there are proven studies that said kids that eat. Also, for your kids who don't want to eat in the morning, you need to make them eat something anyway.
Yes.
They need to have something in their system anyway. If you're not a breakfast household, it's better for them so that they can retain the information. Your brain needs food. Your brain needs the food that it needs. So I'm telling you, got to get up high protein. Vanessa said cheese, dry fruit, nuts are fulfilling. Figuring out breakfast snack packs, things that you can set up for yourself in the morning so you can strategize so that you can have a successful day, so that you don't put them, because their bodies are going to respond to that. And then you got a kid, and the teacher thinks the kid is ADHD, and I have a problem with everybody being labeled ADHD, but a kid thinks, and it's not ADHD. If you would modify their diet, it would change everything.
And just even the environment. I mean, if they're overly stimulated, if you're always rushing, they're going to be like this all the time.
That's good.
All the time. And then, because I've had numerous cases where kids would have just marked diagnosed issues.
Yes.
But I wouldn't see much of the symptoms.
Yes.
I wouldn't see much of the symptoms at all.
Yes.
Because I kept a room of peace. I gave them opportunities for active and passive activities, and it was consistent.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes, we're up moving.
Yeah.
We got to change positions. We're going from the front of the room to the back of the room. We're sitting on the floor. We're sitting on top of desks. We're moving around.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's very important.
Yeah, so kids need to be mobile and be able to express. We're already dealing with some of our teachers say, teachers will thank you. Yes. We have a breakfast program in my school. When the kids eat those cinnamon rolls, even though they may be healthy, it's still sugar. Yes. And then they're hyper all day. I got different cheap. Somebody say you can prep the night before or for the whole week. There was a single dad online. Somebody said fussing at them out a problem does not work in the morning time. No. Fussing at your kid just sets them up for failure, even if their butt appears to do something. Another teacher and parent said make muffins or egg burritos on Sunday for the entire week. The strategies are there, and you've got to get tapped into them. That's how you partner with the classroom. So let's talk about this, because sometimes we seem overburdened with schedules and homework, and sometimes it seems to be a lot of homework. How, as a parent, do you help navigate your kid through this homework process? What if you don't even feel like you have the skill set for this? How do you help navigate your kid through the homework process?
There are so many resources online. There's a lot of resources online.
And we're going to drop those resources later. Usually Jess is on the other side of this. We're going to post resources later for you guys.
There's tons of resources online. Tap into your teacher. Ask them, what other support pieces do you have in class that you can copy at home? A lot of stuff is on tech, and I know Wi-Fi sometimes is not accessible for everyone, but your local library, you have access to the computers there. I realize some people aren't able to make it there. Ask your teacher for extras.
Hand-packed, like packets, worksheets.
Hands-on if you don't have the internet access. There's tons of free apps, different things that you can use to help with homework.
That's good.
And at the end of the day, if the parent doesn't understand, communicate that with the teacher.
But nobody wants to feel dumb. But I get it. It's so important.
Because I have all the time. I teach 3rd grade. I personally had to look back at how to work fractions and stuff until I had to reteach it. I wouldn't necessarily know how to do all that stuff. I don't work with fractions every day. So I get it. So I think just the biggest thing is just building that relationship with your teacher and being able to be transparent. But for all the teachers, be willing to be transparent with your parents.
That's good.
Don't let them think that they're belittled. Don't try to make them feel less than because they don't know.
That's good. And those are from a parent standpoint. I remember Judah was behind in some things. Math is an area we really have to push in. And I tapped into you. I was talking to my daughter-in-law who teaches school. I was emailing his teacher. Can you send me some extra stuff? Khan Academy online is good. There's so many different resources. I did not settle that this was it, because a lot of times we'll settle that is it. I remember when my 21-year-old, we left kindergarten, and I remember his teacher said to us, he is so behind on reading. She said, and if you don't use these strategies, right, he's going to be. We spent the summer, I put every word she gave me on an index card, and we spent the summer, and this is going to be some tips for you parents who have multiple kids. We put it on index cards, and when we would be driving, I would have the brothers give him, the older brothers give him those words, or I would do things like spell words or sound words. When I was teaching my oldest son, I would drive in the car and I would do things like, if we were coming to a stoplight, I would say things like light, L-I-G-H-T, light.
Environmental print is so key. Use what's around you. Do y'all recognize any words? Oh, there's some sight words. Which ones do you see? The, in, of. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Because the responsibility, again, is also on you. One of the other things that I also learned to do was to asking the teacher for help, right? But when you do get a chance, stopping in the classroom to see them in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? Just at one moment, an hour or something, to see what the classroom environment looks like, to get a feel for the classroom. That was one of the other things as a parent that I had to do in partnership. And I know it's so hard sometimes, especially when you're in a position or a situation and you're working, but figuring out how to take your lunch hour or something so that you can be in position, so that that your teacher can at least see your face one time, making sure your kid has all their school supplies.
Yes.
What else?
Yes. I think that's just the biggest thing, making sure that you send them prepared.
Yeah.
And if you don't have everything, ask them, what are the priority pieces that you need?
Yeah.
Because I'm a mother of 5.
Yes.
I got 4 sets.
Yes.
So if there's something like, hey, we're running behind. Okay, so what is it that you really need from me?
Yeah.
And just, make sure you provide it.
And don't assume your teachers have big budgets, right?
No.
Because a lot of people think your teachers have big budgets. What do y'all get, like $500?
$500 for personal, yeah.
For resources.
And it varies from campus to campus, or district. But the biggest thing is that those go toward a lot of the community supplies.
Oh, wow.
For your classroom.
Yeah.
Things that you know you need for your kids that you don't want to put on the parent.
Yeah. And so as a parent, another thing that you may need to ask your teachers, is there anything that I can donate to the classroom? Sow that seed. Might be a packet of paper, construction, some glue sticks, but just sow that seed, especially in schools where the taxes are low and they don't have the same advantages of school districts or areas where there's more money available, or parents are so readily to give. And then if you're a parent and you can't afford school supplies, talk to your teacher. Teachers can tap out and get resources. They can ask other people to help sponsor your kid. Don't be ashamed. There have been times in my life when I needed some help. Now, like when I've needed some help, and I've just been able to say, this is what we can afford to do. Even for uniforms and other things, a partnership, talking to your teacher, you would be surprised of the resources that are available. There are resources if you're homeless available. There are all kinds of things available. We are just about out of time. I thank you. I know this was big for you, but I so appreciate you. Leave them with just some final things that you would tell them as they're coming into the school year. I'm going to tell you to pray over your kids. If there's a problem with your kids, you pray. There's power in prayer. Don't give up on your kid, and ask God for the strategies. Sometimes understanding what type of learner your kid is. Is your kid kinesthetic? Is your kid auditory? Is it a visual learner? Understanding what type of learner you have as a kid as well is so important. You'll be frustrated because you can't figure out why your kid hasn't picked up something, and it's because they may need to learn touching, moving, and doing different things, right? So leave them just with some things that as a teacher you would want your parent to know coming in.
The biggest thing I want to leave with you guys is that your teachers love your kids.
Oh, that's good.
They really do love your kids. And so we're working together. This is a group effort.
Yes.
And any way that teachers can help, they want to.
Yes.
They don't innately want to hurt anyone.
Yes.
Second thing is, don't let anyone speak anything over your kids that you don't want to be in agreement with.
Oh, that's good.
Don't let them say anything over them that you don't want to be in agreement with.
Let me say something there. I remember a couple of years ago, Josiah came home from school, and one of his fifth grade teachers had said something very negative, and she said, y'all not going to be able to survive in 6th grade. And because I built them up at home, he was holding it in his head, and one of the things that he said was, I was just saying, I rebuke her in my head. When he got home, she said that. And I sent an email, and I said, hey, we don't talk negative to our kids at home. And you may be frustrated or upset, but don't tell my son what he won't be able to do. Don't figure out another way to communicate if you're frustrated. But don't tell my son what he won't do.
Or just
don't
get
do
quiet.
it.
Or just get quiet.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing. Teachers, don't speak anything you don't want to see in your kids.
Yes.
And parents, don't get in agreement with anything that's negative.
That's good. That's good. And most parents, also, if there are things that you don't want to participate in the classroom, you can share that. We don't celebrate Halloween.
Yes.
So I share those things. If there are certain books that come in, I want to know what the book list is first, and I make a decision whether or not my child can participate in that book, and I let them know that it goes against my religious beliefs.
Yes.
So those are things that you need to make sure that you're sharing as well. Very clear. And this whole thing has been for a mother or a father, because there's single fathers out there and needing fathers involved to see their parents. Sometimes a daddy showing up on the scene will change everything. Especially when you got a kid that's having behavior issues. Sometimes if there's a dad or an uncle or a male figure behavior, showing up on the scene is not. Most of you guys who are education didn't go into education to get just paid, because that's not what education does. You went into education because you have a heart for kids. So stop thinking teachers are there just to get a paycheck. You can't pay them enough. Sometimes in the day they're more with your kids than you are, Monday through Friday. You can't pay them enough for how or what needs to be done. So make sure that you understand that. Make sure you for sure are putting yourself in a position to understand your teacher. I think teachers too should send out a little bio background in their letter. Hey, I have 5 kids. In your welcome letter, if you're a teacher, send out a little bio. Explain your situation. Just say a little bit who you are so that you can connect to the parents, making the environment, and declare that this will be your best school year ever. Declare that over your kids, that this will be your best year ever, right? And if there a problem arises, connect to the people that you need to connect to. Well, we are out of time. They are amping up in our church lobby. We got to get back there so that we can be a part of what's going on. We're going to post some information for you guys so that you're able to tap into some of the resources. I'm going to post some confessions that I confess over my kids, that you can say over them every morning. Let them hear you in your ear. I know sometimes you are stressed. I know that even if you're not of faith, you can still speak positive over your kids in the morning. Even if you're not a believer, you can tell them all good things. You can start talking about it like over and over again. Oh, you're great. You're going to be successful. You is good. You is kind. You is smart. You can say that to them. You are going to have a great year. You are successful. You're going to survive this. You can talk that to them, even if you're not a person of faith and you don't want to do scripture.
Oh, real quick. Your kids grow over the summer, so don't hold what they did last year against them. Oh, your kids grow over the summer, so do not hold it against them.
That's good.
Their faults from last year.
That's so good.
They transform over a matter of 2 months.
Yes, that's good.
Don't let what they did in second or third or fourth move on with them.
Because they grow up.
Because it's just like they're permanent record folders. All you're doing is stacking this case against them throughout the years. Don't do it.
So don't stack the case. Give them the freedom to be able to walk in this next school year with a clean slate. That you're a clean slate. Let them walk into the school year with a clean slate. Well, I love you guys. Canaan Christian Center. As tomorrow we'll have Pastor Abby Caldwell here. So we're really excited. I'm teaching. So if you're in Pine Bluff area, we have a special children's ministry service. And LMJ is going to be with the kids, teaching the kids for children's ministry tomorrow at Canaan Christian Center, 7890 Middle Warren Road in Pine Bluff. Pastor Caldwell will be in the main sanctuary, and I'll be teaching the kids. I'm super excited about that. Tomorrow we're going to be crunk up in here. So I'm excited to teach them tomorrow. That's good. One of our parents said you need to remember what you did as a child and a teenager. Service starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Canaan Christian Center. I love you guys so much. We'll see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m. where we're going to be talking about a setup for a miracle. Set up for a miracle. Stay tuned. Our special guest, we got a special guest next week. I can't remember who it is. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, Emily McKnight. Emily McKnight. I can't wait till you see her. She's a dating coach. So stay tuned for us next week. Definitely tune in. YouTube, we'll have this on YouTube channel. Share this video today for everyone to see. Love you. Peace, as my granny always say. Love, peace, and blessings. You know what I want y'all to do. Go be loved today. And I'll see you Monday morning at 5 a.m. Peace.